Hi everyone, good morning. How are you doing today? Trying to check if we are all good, and I hope it is working. Yes, I see myself there. You might notice how my setting is a bit different. I look like a real ghost in these pictures and these videos because we are living in a temporary home and the basement has really poor lighting. It's very dark and we didn't fix it because this is temporary home, as I said. So that's why if it feels really dark and different, it's because I have the lights off and I only have the ring light on, and I'm trying to look like a normal person, not a ghost. Um, Even though I'm starting to have a bit of a suntan, it doesn't really help. So, good morning, everyone. This is a really big pleasure for me to be here today. I feel like there's also a bit of an imposter feeling. Um, Today is the day after we had Dr. Amy Stearns, a QRB alumna, as a guest on the blog. And for those of you who enjoyed her blog post, please reach out to her. She left her Twitter handle at the very end, and I think it would be really cool for you to actually share your thoughts about what you thought about the blog post, her ideas, and what she shared with us. Um, I don't know if it's my impression, but I feel like the video where when I look here, it looks really weird and slow. But my internet connection, oh, it might be better now. I see it was interrupted and it might be better. But I apologize for that. I'm not sure exactly what is happening. It's probably just my internet connection. We're off here. Um, so hopefully it improves. Okay, yeah, I did get a note here saying that the internet connection wasn't great and the video speed was delayed. So let's continue. I don't want this to be a problem, and also because the blog post wasn't written by me, Myra, it was written by a guest. I want, as I said, I am encouraging you to reach out to her and share your feedback, share your thoughts, what the things that she wrote, how they resonated with you, or maybe challenged you, or maybe you don't agree with certain areas. And all feedback and discussion, in my opinion, is welcome as long as it is provided in a respectful way. And Amy is also a part of the Facebook group. So if you want to tag her in a comment and or respond to her directly, that's definitely a possibility, and I encourage you to do that. To me, I thought that her blog post had some really interesting features, and it's always a pleasure when people write for the blog and I get to see their voice and their casuality and things that you wouldn't necessarily put in an academic paper. It's fascinating that when Amy sat down to write this and reflected on when her journey as a qualitative researcher started, it took her back to junior high and analyzing the journals about dreams with a sample of friends and sisters. So it's interesting because I started thinking about when did qualitative research became a thing for me. And in theory, it was during my master's. But when did I really see myself with those qualities that I think are really pertinent and important for qualitative researchers? And I I don't I would be lying to you if I said that I can remember a moment or a school project or something that takes me to the skills of a qualitative researcher. the moment that really felt like, oh, I found myself in this research world and I love this was in my master's. But I want you to take a moment to think about your qualitative journey and ask yourself, like, when did I start showing my abilities as a qualitative researcher or enjoying doing things that are important for a qualitative researcher to do? I always see value in that type of reflection because it helps us as qualitative researchers to better understand where we are coming from. And I think this is something that Amy really hones in her blog post, how she places herself in the world, like how she understands where she's coming from, her position of power, who she is in relation to those that she works with and wants to support and help through her work. That element is so important. So reflect, take a moment to reflect on yourself, on your journey, and see if the theories that resonate with you at this point in your career or in the projects that you're conducting really align or perhaps don't align. And what does that mean? I currently work in I currently work in spaces and projects where there is a lot of, I would say, a more pragmatic paradigm and a solution focused and orientation to research. And it's interesting because whereas for my PhD research, we I would say the project and my work and I aligned more with the transformative paradigm. It's not what I am doing right now. With that being said, it's interesting how deep down and I feel like you need to understand what you bring and what you resonate with in terms of bigger theoretical standpoints, what you bring and what you believe, no matter which project you are going into. So it might not be the theoretical lens or the framework that you introduce in a paper for across all projects that you conduct, but something that you understand about yourself. In June, we'll have a blog post called Come As You Are, and it's of course a play, like it's playing with a line, the lyrics from a famous song, but it's also an alert or an encouragement to you to really take who you are and bring that to the table with a genuine approach to that. And not only you, but all research team members. Because that transparency with how you're coming to the work helps all research members as you're sifting through data and perhaps paying attention more to one aspect than another. So those were some key things that I wanted to bring to you in relation to Amy's post. The other thing is, I talk about this very often. If you go back to January 5th, when we had the framework, the realized path introduced to you, you will remember that one of the pillars is writing. And again, this is another example of how writing these thoughts, like when did my qualitative research journey start? Which theories resonate with me right now in my current work or in relation to who I am as a researcher, as a human being, as a citizen. I feel that writing those thoughts are really important. And I encourage you to do so as you're sifting through everything that is in your mind or percolating somewhere in your brain. Put those thoughts on paper and try to understand how they are shaping your work and how you want them to shape your work. So those were the key things that I wanted to discuss today. Last but not least, I also have an invitation to those of you who might watch this later and are part of the Quali Q for Qualitative Minds Facebook community or YouTube community. If you are a qualitative researcher and you have the interest to take this opportunity, like take an opportunity, not this opportunity, to take an opportunity to write and put your thoughts somewhere so you can share with the world and contribute to other qualitative researchers out there, you can contact us at info@qualiq.ca. And if you have a blog post idea that you would like to share and you want to send a draft, we will open the blog as a forum to you. It's even more open if it's a topic that I, as the principal researcher and the principal person that creates the content, cannot cover because it's not my area of expertise. So, for example, we do have a lack of certain methodologies on the blog. So, if you are someone who does phenomenology, if you're someone who has done grounded theory, or if you have a critical lens or critical realism, what else? If you want to talk about race in relation to qualitative research, anything that we can all learn from and enrich our experiences as qualitative researchers and our capacity to have an impact, a positive impact through our work is going to be considered with open arms. So if you are interested, reach out and let us know, and we can kind of tell you what's the plan for when things would be feasible and best in terms of aligning your subject with the content that is planned for the blog. So with that, I will wrap up today, and I wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. Next week is May 26th. Am I right about that? Yes, May 26th. I cannot believe this, but it is. And we will be here a bit earlier because I have an important commitment at then. But I'll make sure that we touch base and we talk about next week's blog post. I think you're going to like it. It's going to be a good one. And we'll go from there. Talk to you soon. Have a wonderful week and see you next week.